Day is brought to you by Barton Community College. Explore your future and get started now. Visit gobarton.com.
Okay, Sports Day in 3, 2, 1.
Bobby's already had a full day, but he has 3 hits, an RBI, 2 runs scored, and 2 stolen bases. Well hit, deep right center field. That's going to be over Maton and up against the wall. Fermin scores. India will be held at third.
Yeah, it's incredible. They renew their abilities, and then just how they work and just how they go about everything they do. It's just day in and day out. They're always trying to get better.
There were some situations where a leadoff guy got on, but I think they were swinging early in the count, but we had a couple timely double plays. Defense was great, kind of getting me out of those situations where multiple runners were on.
Really impressive. I think really what stood out to me was how we kept going through the middle of the game, and that's a tight game. Big hits from Salvi early, the triple by Michael to extend it, and then continuing to push.
Obviously, we all know McPherson's good. Junction is pretty good this year. And then Manhattan is, last I saw, they were at least in the top 10 in 6A. And
there's so much, there's very little wiggle room. Every game is going to have an impact on standings. And, we had an amazing atmosphere last year when we hosted at home for regionals. And so, wanting to get that again and so that game was huge for us in terms of maintaining where we're at and trying to stay in the top 4.
What's an energetic Denver Ringo?
That depends. Bark.
I want to hear for the sports. Give me a Denver Ringo energetic bark. Come on now, you mentioned it. Now we. Yes. Hesher didn't. Hesher didn't turn off the delay after Trading Post today. Anyway, welcome to the jungle. That kind of said, I think that's like the 3rd time Hesh has forgot to turn off the delay.
Do you think he's forgetting? He's laughing right now.
I thought something was sounding wacky in there, but there you go. Welcome to Sports Day here on a Friday. From the Mayo Money Management Studios, Steve Webster with you, our guest host today, Garrett Fitzpatrick. I really appreciate you coming by. It gives me somebody, not that I can't, throw things off Landon, but he'll start mentioning things. I have no idea what he's talking about. Just like, I tell him, say things that no idea that he knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But it's good to have you in here.
Smoke screen go up the middle.
Landon, executive producer. Is that on your executive producer checklist to go through and find out what Hesh forgot to do when he was in the studio earlier today?
I guess it will be now.
That's how you learn things, right? Things go, not that, it's right behind me. I could have seen that light myself. So
the revolving job description list.
Well, you gave us such a good compliment. You were in your last one. Boy, there's a lot of things going on in here.
Yeah, you do.
But when the delay's not there, and then you start getting echo in your ear. Okay, that's the civilian problems. We don't need to talk about those.
That's right.
On the program today, Sunflower Sports Solutions' Connor Nickel is going to join the show. We'll talk about the home stretch for high school baseball and softball seasons. Speaking of the aforementioned Mike Hesher, he's coming back for a special sports version of Get Off My Yard today. And then we'll wrap up the show with our KVGB track and field insider Mike Corson telling us about some of the top performances of the week on the track and in the field for area high school athletes. But we get to the sounds of the past 24 hours or so. There were plenty of Royals highlights yesterday.
Yeah, White Sox.
Now, wait a second here. Don't jump on the White Sox here.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they were right in the game. Mm-hmm. Every game. Not yesterday.
Royals are on that 16 win streak, won 9 out of last 10.
14 out of 16.
Playing the Red Sox starting tonight.
The sound last night, Ryan Lefevre. This was kind of like a menu, so instead of me telling you, no, we already heard it. Ryan Lefevre summing up the day for Bobby Witt Jr., then describing Bobby Witt Jr.'s RBI double in the 8th inning. The Royals win 10-0 over the White Sox. Kansas City completes a 4-game sweep. This is the Palco Punishers.
Palco Punisher.
They had a good night because they have Bobby Witt Jr., who had 4 hits. And, well, wait a second here. I don't have that listed there because, see, when I did the story, I just said, well, Ryan's doing that for me. So, LMNOP,
In baseball, you don't know nothing.
Bobby's already had a full day, but he has 3 hits, an RBI, 2 runs scored, and 2 stolen bases.
That's not a bad day.
No.
Palco Punishers. That was another Tiger Ball team.
He's had several not bad days.
Iuka Hustlers start a 3-week road trip next week, and that's the first place they'll be. After they wrap up their home series this weekend with the Hunter Huntsman, they'll be in Palco.
Get some maintenance done down there in the field while they're gone.
3 weeks, man. It's a long time. 3 weeks. Okay, so the Royals win 10-0. Royals pitching staff's been outstanding. Bobby Witt Jr., who had that big day, 17 hits for the Royals. He was talking about the Royals pitching, including Chris Bubich. 6 hits, struck out 7, walked 1. Bubich saying, well, they were kind of jumping on some things. They got some men on base early in the game. So my guy is Meidroth, second baseman for the White Sox. Okay. The guy who tried to catch that pop-up in his head earlier in the week.
That with the concussion?
He singles on the first pitch of the game. He's over at first, right? Well, you're Chicago. What is there to lose, right? And Denny Matthews, well, that's a huge lead by Meidroth. And it was like 3-0, and he never did go. So what happens? 6-4-3 double play, man. You got to move the guy. You got to move the guy. Anyway, it's getting way too much on the Iuka Hustlers here.
There you go.
Bubich has been great. The entire pitching staff has been great. And the Royals will continue their homestand tonight against the Red Sox. We'll have it for you starting at 6 here on KVGB. And the Royals are 2.5 games back in the American League Central, but you put it in perspective, man, they're playing great.
They are.
Detroit leads the division 25-13. That is the best record in the American League. The second best record in the American League, I get third best, would be Cleveland. The Royals are right there, tied with them. I mean, it's 22-15, 23-16. Kansas City, 7 games over 500.
I just listened to this. Detroit Tigers are tied for the best record in baseball with the Dodgers. That's been a while coming, huh?
And the Dodgers are only 1 game ahead of San Diego and San Francisco.
Yeah, that's a 3-8. That's going to be a... But then you have the Rockies, and they're going to spoil all the fun.
They could come charging back.
Wow.
6-31.
That's ugly.
I hope Bud Black, they dump him so he can go manage somewhere else. I just don't think he can win with baseball in Colorado just because no one wants to come and sign a free agent contract to be a pitcher there. And it's not even as bad as you used to be. It's just now you...
Yeah,
thanks to the humidor...
They did make the playoffs one year, didn't the Blake Street Bombers? Was that their time?
I don't know, but Bud Black... that was...
They've been poor.
They've been poor. So...
Great stadium. Great location, just not good baseball.
And everybody said, oh, the Red Sox are coming in tonight. Well, the Red Sox are 20-19.
I wonder if they'll have a first baseman. The Red Sox.
Well, I imagine they'd probably want to play with one, wouldn't they?
Well, yeah, but Devers said they asked him to play, and he said he wasn't going to play first base. So
I'd stay there if I was Rafael Devers. He's been white hot.
Yes, he has.
As a DH.
Yes.
I don't want to go back out there now. You don't want me to play third base?
No. So
I'll go to DH. That's where I'm going to go.
Son asked me, I was like, what happens if they put him down and he just doesn't go out and play?
Well, then you've got a diva wide receiver situation, right?
Yes.
Okay. Let me run down the rest of the standings here I got here. No, that's okay. Seattle leading the West, 22-14. You know who's in second in the AL West?
Yeah.
The Sacramento Athletics. They don't stay down for long. They rebuild and then they tear.
It's a
classic small market team. Yeah, you're in Sacramento now. You don't even have a home.
Real small market.
Playing in
On
a
the
minor league
stadium.
park. But, man, they're 20-18. Here they come. They've done it through their minor league system. Houston's 4 back. American League East, or National League East. The New York Mets, 24-14. Leading Philadelphia by 1.5 games. The Braves still haven't got over the 500 mark.
But
They're
we're-
18-19.
But they're coming, aren't they?
5.5 games back. In the Central, the Cubs, 22-16.
And so the Mets lock up this weekend with National League East. They lock up. It's a big, crucial series.
Milwaukee and the Cardinals are 3 games back. Stacy Emishu's Pittsburgh Pirates, 12-26 right now, and they fired their manager yesterday. And out west, the Dodgers, 25-13. We've got all these giant payroll. We could buy Bolivia. But San Diego's a game back. San Francisco's a game back. But San Diego tonight has to open a weekend series in Colorado against the Rockies, so it's going to be tougher for them to hang in there. So there's your Major League standings.
Rockies will sweep them.
Other sounds, could happen. Other sounds of the weekend. Great Bend Panther baseball coach Randy Beck running down the final 6 games the Panthers have. 2 of them are today, and talking about how meaningful they are so they can hang in there. They're in second place right now, 5A West standings, trying to get that regional home spot. But it's not going to exactly be easy. Now, today they play Junction City in McPherson. Then they'll get either Newton or McPherson in the second game, that little mini tournament or a quad that they play over there. Then they host Manhattan at the Sports Complex next Wednesday for 2 games. And then they have a road trip to Garden City next Friday to close out the regular season, talking about that schedule. By the way, Randy Gehring will have the call today on B104.3 The Point for that doubleheader, 3:45 for the pregame show. Carrie Minton, her team's the same way. Big stretch starts today. If I could get out, no, I can't get out because it's kindergarten graduation. I can't miss that.
No.
So I've got to go to that today. But they've got a big matchup. They will play Newton today at 4 o'clock in McPherson, a quad taking place. And then if they can win that game, they'll get another crack at McPherson. That's probably the Lady Panthers' worst game of the year. They got beat 11-5 by McPherson back in April at another quad in McPherson. And Great Bend played kick the can. McPherson scored 5 runs in the first, 5 runs in the second, took a 10-1 lead, and then Great Bend tried to chip away. It's just too late. So that'll be a fun matchup if they play in the second game this afternoon. Carrie Minton about talking what they need to do to finish in the top 4. And it's more crowded at the top in softball than it is baseball. Lady Panthers currently tied for second in 5A West. And our final cut, never mention something that you can do around your teammates when you're on sports day. Because inquiring minds want to know. I got to do this again because, Mikey's probably out there, hadn't heard it yet. So Denver Ringo's saying that, she was energetic last week in the doubleheader. And I said, what's an energetic? Well, here you go.
What's an energetic Denver Ringo?
That depends. Bark.
I want to hear for the sports. Give me a Denver Ringo energetic bark. Come on now, you mentioned it. Now we.
She's a Cleveland Brown fan, I bet.
Well, I hope she's an energetic Denver Ringo today for the Great Bend Lady Panthers. Okay, Barton Baseball took care of business. Yeah, how about the pitching yesterday? Anthony Trito, a no-hitter in the first game. Barton beats Neosho 13-0. And Ethan Menaker, those have been a dynamic duo, 1-2 for the Barton baseball team. 7 shutout innings. Barton wins 9-3. As expected. Now they'll advance on. They're in the Region 6 tournament in Salina next week, Dean Evans Stadium. X Stadium's being used next week. Barton will play their first-round game on Tuesday. They'll take on Coffeyville, who swept Butler 9-1 and 8-3. So that'll be at 4 o'clock on Tuesday. There are 2 series that will continue today. These are first-round best of 3. Labette came up with a 6-5 win in Concordia against Cloud County yesterday, so they'll play the deciding game 3 today, and then Colby beat Fort Scott the first day 14-3, but Fort Scott got the Trojans yesterday 8-4. So a deciding game 3 out there. Johnson County, KCK, Cowley, Hutchinson, and Coffeyville have all already advanced to the Region 6 tournament next week. Barton softball, they didn't make the postseason. Well, they did. Came up one run short of making it to the Softball World Series. Heartbreaking loss last Monday in Dodge, but some postseason honors coming their way. How about Carson DeBose? Congratulations, Carson. 35-16 record, named the Region or Division I Softball Coach of the Year, and freshman Malia Ingram named the Pitcher of the Year. And the Fort Hays State Tiger baseball team, it's all how you're playing at the end of the year. The Tigers got swept in Claremore, Oklahoma by Rogers State in final series of the season. Not only cost them a shot at the MIAA regular season crown, it also dropped them to number 3 seed in the MIAA tournament. And they closed the year with 4 straight losses. 5 of their last 6 games they lost, as they lost in 10 innings yesterday to Northwest Missouri State 6-5.
Yeah, surely down the stretch. Their coach won Coach of the Year for the, I believe, MIAA too.
He did.
Yes.
Justin?
So, yes.
Rickert?
So, but great.
Good.
I mean, good season. That's a better season than they've had in a long time. So let's go out, hit the recruiting trail, come down and get some of these Barton guys that are throwing up some numbers. Congratulations on that young man through that Nuno. Nuno's good, especially in conference. And
and especially you step out and set the tone. Yeah,
exactly.
For the best of 3 series.
What about
go ahead.
Hey, I want to see if when was the last time do you think McPherson got beat by 15 runs in baseball?
Well, we'll see today, because that was 15-0 last week on the Great Bend Panthers in baseball.
If them two get to meet up, I bet McPherson's got a little giddy up on them today. But I think the boys will come out and take care of business.
Well, if you get beat down in front of your house by the neighborhood bully, and then the next day you come back out there, probably what's going to happen, the neighborhood bully is going to beat you down again, unless you bring some extra things to battle him.
So good luck.
Garrett Fitzpatrick, our co-host today. Coming up next, we'll talk to Connor Nickel. Let's see, Mike Corson, Mike Hesher, all part of the Friday Sports Day show on KVGB.
It's your opportunity to become an instant finalist with Reef Blue Summer, brought to you by Ehlers Chevrolet, INA Alert, Equity Bank, and Kelly's Garden Sense. Today, you can stop on an Ehlers Chevrolet, and Micah, you guys have great deals and some awesome cars in stock. 2025s, they are here.
Yes, we do. Some of the 2026 models are on the way, but we do have 2025s here right now. And the Equinox, Trax, Trailblazer, Heavy Duties, and also the all-new Traverse and Tahoe.
You were also saying that you got the 2025 HDs in stock.
That's correct. We have the long beds, and we have several more on the way, and we can also order whatever you want. So I have some allocations coming up this next week.
Now, if they're looking for something that's not on the lot, how do you go about that?
Just let us know what you're looking for. Any make, model, we can get it, or we can find it, and we'll get it here for you.
There you go. Come on in here. Ehlers Chevrolet, the place to be to become an instant finalist for Reef Blue Summer. You have until 5 o'clock to get yourself qualified. Stop on in, Ehlers Chevrolet in Hoisington today.
Ready for a fresh start? This spring, Equity Bank is here to help you bloom into better banking with a $300 bonus. Receive $300 when you open a new Equity Bank checking account and use code FRESH, either in person or online. It's the perfect way to reset your routine and refresh your finances. Visit equitybank.com/fresh for full details and start your season strong. At Equity Bank, they never forget it's your money. Member FDIC.
Your summer, your schedule. Earn college credit and tackle your gen eds with Barton Online anytime, anywhere. With 5 flexible summer sessions, you can stay on track and reach your goals on your schedule and budget. At just $160 per credit hour, Barton Online is an affordable way to stay ahead, catch up, or explore something new. Enrollment is open now. Secure your spot today at online.bartoncccc.edu.
What's going on in high school sports? Well, let's ask him. Sports Day is proud to welcome in Sunflower Sports Solutions' Connor Nickel.
The one and only is with us today. Barton Cougar Booster Club helping to bring you Sports Day. Continue their efforts to make the Barton Athletic Department the best in the country. Freedom Claims Management, innovative healthcare plans for your business. Let them take care of everything for you from start to finish, and continued support. They have you covered. Connor Nichols, Sunflower Sports Solutions. Here we go. We're in the last week and a few days of the regular season for softball and baseball right now. And before I forget and get off on my own little navigation tour, I'm going to let you start where you want to, and that's a baseball game between Sedgwick and Little River. Connor Nichols, what do you got?
Yeah, so this was something, honestly, we had highlighted a couple of weeks back, and then a lot of people kind of have seen this too. And there's a site devoted to high school baseball. It's a guy out of Kansas City. The site is called Amayo Sport, AMOYO Sport. He's very active on Twitter, and he's been highlighting some of these things too. But extremely rare in any sport to have two undefeated teams play each other this late in the season. Not only that, but they're in the same class, also extremely rare. They're also in the same regional. And so LR and Sedgwick, who have been outstanding 2-1A baseball teams now for several years, played each other on Tuesday. And Sedgwick actually won 13-0 and 10-0. So when you look at the Marion Regional right now, Sedgwick is 22-0 in 2-1A, again getting the Marion Regional, and then LR is 18-2, also in the Marion Regional as well. So they will possibly meet up again. Now, here's kind of the issue with this is that right now they have the first and second best records in 2-1A. So again, we see I've liked how some sports, certainly basketball, has changed, where we're getting the top teams to state, and baseball and softball have not followed suit. So kind of is a little bit of a predicament. I think that those results, and I know that the Amayo Sport guy agrees, and there's several others out there, that this says much more about Sedgwick than it does about LR. I mean, Sedgwick has outscored teams an average score of 10-2 this season. The Crumrines are outstanding players. I believe they are brothers. They're 17-0. Both of them ERAs under .7, and they've struck out about 160 batters in roughly 100 innings this year. So just really tremendous arms. I still think LR is just a really great team. Logan Rankin is really, really impressive. But so cool to see that, and to see, honestly, 2-1A baseball highlighted on a state level. You just don't get that very often.
And again, it's who's on the mound, right? Okay, well, obviously they've got two really good pitchers. And I don't know if you could, I think you probably could tell me this, but what are the pitching limits? Say you get to a state tournament. Okay, you got two studs. How are you going to nurse them to 3 games at a state tournament?
Yeah, so that raises a great point. And McPherson, so Keith Gershner, who has done a great job at McPherson. He's now won a couple of state titles. He actually kind of gave the blueprint. So a couple of years ago, I think it was actually 2 now, McPherson won the 4A state title, and they had no true ace. And so what he did was, you can go up to a certain number of pitches, I think it's around 40, and then you can still pitch the next day. And so they were very, very cognizant of that, where they would pitch pitchers up to about 35 or so pitches, then they would pull them. So basically, he did 3 bullpen by committee games. They also had a reasonable chance to win their first-round game by a decent margin. I don't think it was a blowout. I think it was like a 10-4 type of game. And so he really stressed to his hitters, we've got to score early. We've got to get up early. We've just got to kind of manage this. And then he managed it perfectly. And so I do not believe when you're in the state tournament, Sedgwick or other type teams are probably going to have a reasonable chance to win their first round game easily. there is no reason at all that if you are up 9-1, that you have your ace on the mound just throwing gas and throwing innings. Get them out of there and save them. There are times when it's, you got to win and you got to push your ace the whole 105 pitches, and then he's not available for the rest of stage. But that quarterfinal first-round game becomes just essential for managing your pitchers, especially if you have two of them, which Sedgwick does. They've got a senior who's been very, very good too, but how you want to manage some of these things.
I hate bullpen games. We get this and then you got so many pitches. So what do you think about this? Now, we've seen Keisha make adjustments. I mean, they're making it to the state basketball tournaments with basically these sort of neutral site games earlier in the week, right? And then you have essentially a Final Four. Why couldn't you do that for baseball? I mean,
I've actually proposed this. I've got two options here for baseball. You could do something a little bit differently in softball, but let's talk about baseball here.
Yeah.
You can actually do it the MIAA way, where basically what you would do is you would have your final 8, and the quarter, they want to get everything done by state track, essentially, which is fine. So we'll go off of that. So you would play either Wednesday, Thursday, or Thursday, Friday. Let's say for the sake of this, you're going to play Thursday, Friday. Okay? You would actually play your quarterfinal game so your round of 8 game on Monday.
I like it.
Your round of 8 game on Monday. And then you would actually do double elimination for your final 4.
Yeah.
You could pull out that, but here's the thing though. In double elimination aside, that's what the MIAA does. But I still think you could do your quarterfinal game, what they're talking about in basketball. You do your quarterfinal game at a neutral site. Let's just say, for the sake of it, LR and Sedgwick, okay? Though they're in the same regional, but let's just say they're in the same quarterfinal. You would find a site like Newton, okay?
Yeah.
Or even Great Bend, and you would say, we're going to play a quarterfinal baseball game here on Monday, because then that still gives the ace the opportunity to come back later in the week and potentially pitch in a state championship. And this avoids your number 3 starter for most teams pitching for a state championship. People talk about depth, and people talk about, you got to have the depth to win a state championship. True, but it's also nice when you actually have your ace pitching for a state championship and not your 3 or 4 pitchers.
So why the double elimination then? Because don't you get back into bullpen games again, although it wouldn't be quite as much? I mean, obviously you win your first. I mean, you're looking at potential of still having to play multiple games in 2 days, right?
Yes, and I say the double because that's your College World Series style. That's just with that, and then they get back to your more series doubleheader-esque games. But I would say this: if I were to make a change tomorrow, I would say bump your quarterfinal games to Monday. No one's playing on that day, anyways. If you want to go with double elimination, fine. If you don't, fine too. But do it just like how basketball is going, and put that quarterfinal game earlier in the week at a separate site, and that way you can have your better pitchers available.
And make the higher seed playing closer to home. That's kind of the way to do it in basketball. I mean, you could have a 6A game and a 2-1A game at the same location, and a place that I kind of like it. So what is more, because it's unique basketball, you've got your same guys out there or same girls out there for 3 games at a state tournament, or the early quarterfinal matchup. So what describes how good a baseball team is? Because it's the same way with softball. You got a stud. I mean, that's huge, right? So are you a better baseball team if you've got one stud that can, or you've got depth?
Well, to me, where the separator comes is actually in that second game.
Yeah.
Because there are a number. We're sticking with baseball here. you've got a number of teams that have one great pitcher. And I still remember a game years ago. Bishop Miege was playing Hayes High in the state tournament, and this was one of the all-time great Frank Leo teams. And they played Miege. Miege was in 5A, and they played Miege in the first game, and Miege won 1-0. Miege aced through a one-hit shutout. I think he was a drafted kid, and then Miege just got slammed in the next 2 games. You know, you've seen some games like that over the years where a team has had a great ace, but not even a great 2, and so you find that separator sometimes in that final contest.
Yeah, I think that Keisha's opened the door to a lot of things in making changes, and I'll give this to Bill Faflick since he's become the executive director of Keisha, that they've explored doing some things and changed quite a few things since Bill got in there and along with his staff, but trying to go along with, what the schools are saying. I think Keisha's been pretty progressive on some of these postseason events.
Well, and I want to make another point here too, Steve. I'm from Missouri, where state is always the Final Four. It is the Final Four for every sport. And this is maybe a longer conversation than right now, but I do think this is important to say. There are so many fans and parents, administrators, players who view if you do not get to state, your season is not a great success. Now, it's not a failure, but there is a line that has been drawn where did you get to state or not? And I think that is mainly because in Kansas, state is 8 teams. So most people view, if you're a big class, are we in the top 25% of our class? Are we really? We're not making a state. That means we're not even in the top 25%. Well, a smaller class, okay, we're not in the top 20%. And so when you don't make it to state, it automatically puts the thought in somebody's mind, we weren't even good enough in our class to be in the top 25% this year. How good were we? And I'm making a very, very blanket statement, but I know, Steve, you probably know where I'm going.
Well, it should be special to get to state. It's like opening up a quarter of your teams. Oh, we made the state. College football coaches would love that, wouldn't it? Hey, we made the playoffs.
Well, in Missouri, where I grew up, making the Final Four is, really, really special. That is incredibly special. But if you go to the Final Four, that is an historically great season. We put up a banner at Parkway North, and we were a good school, especially in football and baseball, that if we made a Final 16, something went up, said that we made the Final 16 and something. You don't find hardly any teams put up something that says sub-state championship participant. No. Because in Kansas, the Final 8 is where it's at.
How many classes are there in Missouri?
There are 5.
Okay.
Now, the classes are a little bit different. They're a little bit larger in terms of number of schools, but they're not that much larger. I think the largest class in Missouri has 64 schools. And I think that most schools are around that. For Kansas, they're generally in the 32 to 48 range.
Yeah, I know, and it was a big deal back in my day, Connor, a long time ago, because you had to go through regional. If you got to a sub-state, it was like playing a state champion or a state tournament, because it was you went. There's 4 teams, and it was a different location, and it was planned to get and sub-state. Man, if you just got to sub-state, that was big, because you had to get to an 8 or 9 or 10 team regional just to get to sub-state. So. Yeah, make it special. I'm kind of with you on that for sure. I know that. All right, Connor, great discussion today. Hey, we'll talk about baseball and softball and the big matchups coming up next week on the show. How's that?
Sounds good there, Steve. As always, appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Yeah, great conversation today with Connor Nichols, Sunflower Sports Solutions, and we appreciate him being on the show every week with us here on Sports Day. Our show today brought to you by the Animal Medical Center in Great Bend. Large or small, they take care of them all. Also, the Marmy Auto Group on 10th Street in Great Bend, and the Great Bend Rec Commission dedicated to improving our community and the lives of its individuals. All right, more Sports Day coming up. Yeah, Mike Hescher's hanging around. He came back in today. So we'll talk about Barton baseball, high school baseball, and, of course, his beloved Royals. All next.
Management Studios, 1590 KVGB, Great Bend, and 95.5 FM K238CK, Hoisington.
Hey everyone, this is Cole Wright, voice of the Barton Cougars. Attending sporting events for Barton Community College is great, but did you know you can support the athletic teams even further by getting involved with the Cougar Booster Club? The Boosters help with fundraising for equipment and facility upgrades to give Barton athletes every opportunity to keep succeeding at the regional and national levels. Join the Cougar Booster Club as an individual or business. Call 620-792-9377. Become a booster today. Go Cougars.
If you're needing a healthcare plan for your business, let the experienced and dedicated staff at Freedom Claims Management Incorporated customize a health insurance plan that fits your business's need. Regardless if you're a large corporation or a small business on Main Street, Freedom Claims Management Incorporated can help you provide your employees with great health coverage at an affordable cost. Visit freedomclaimsinc.com where you can schedule a free, no obligation health assessment today. Freedom Claims Management Incorporated in Great Bend.
When it comes to car maintenance, it's good to know a local guy that can get things done. The Eller family has been in the auto repair business in Great Bend forever. Greg Eller continues that long tradition of helping people. Eller Automotive Repair specializes in wheel alignments, oil changes, and general maintenance for all makes and models of cars and small trucks. Open 8 to 5 Monday through Thursday, 8 to 4 Fridays. Eller Automotive Repair at 915 Morton, right behind Great Bend Appliance, Furniture, and Sleep Source, 10th and Morton.
This is Hadley.
Hadley, what's going on? I've been trying to call you for the past half hour.
Well, Papa, ever since you started this big sale, the phones have been ringing like crazy.
That's a good thing, Hadley. And didn't I ask you to name the sale?
I did. It's a sale. It's so good you won't believe it.
Oh, Hadley, it is so good you won't believe it.
C&E Doors is offering steel on both sides 9x7 white doors for the same price as vinyl backliner doors. Call today.
And to get the latest, we bring you the only man to polish off an entire bag of Cheetos during a single basketball broadcast. The voice of the Cardinals, Mike Hescher. It's time to talk Hoisington Cardinal Athletics. And to get the latest, we bring you the only man to polish off an entire bag of Cheetos during a single basketball broadcast. The voice of the Cardinals, Mike Hescher.
Although he's branched out quite a bit. I just like to hear you burp on the air.
That was not me burping. You added that in.
No, I did not.
Okay.
Landon did.
Landon,
He's executive producer. Welcome back to Sports Day, brought to you by Eller Automotive Repair, where they specialize in wheel alignments, oil changes, general maintenance for all makes and models of cars and small trucks, and Equity Bank, adding value to their customers and communities. Equity Bank in Great Bend, Hoiston, and Lardon. You can find all their locations at equitybank.com. Mike Hescher joining us here on the program today. Barton safely on to the Region 6 tournament next week. They took care of the Osho yesterday. You've been great pitching. You got two starters like they have right now in Anthony Trito. One, he had a no-hitter yesterday, and then coming back in the second game, they get another solid performance as well. And they're on, I don't think there's any doubt, 13-0, 9-3. They take care of business yesterday at Lawson Biggs Field.
And you said it was a business-like game, both of them yesterday. They just took care of business. They play solid baseball. I like the way they play. They're entertaining to watch.
Ethan Mineker coming on, and he had a good game in game two. Then we were able to rest them. Bats came alive in the middle innings in both games. So now it gets tricky because they go on to Dean Evans Stadium in Salina.
When did this is the first year? I'm not supposed to ask you questions.
No, that's okay. I'm going to go with Brent Biggs at Wichita State's at home.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of weird because that's the first time that's happened here in a while. Dean Evans Stadium, a little bit smaller park.
And it's more convenient because it's closer. I'll probably go down on Tuesday when they have their opening round game.
Well, it's the same distance.
But I have I have more things I can do in Salina, okay?
Oh, okay. The personal retired life of Mike Hesher.
Well, okay, my parents are buried in gypsum, and I haven't gone by to see them lately, so that will be another thing. I will make a memorial trip out of this.
Okay. Look at you, just taking care of business wherever he goes. So they get Coffeyville, a team that, well, took care of Butler in 2 games, and Bart knows all about Coffeyville. They had 2 competitive games last week out of Los Angeles Field to close the regular season. So
correct.
Not a rollover in their first-round game, taking on a number 8 seed.
You're in the postseason. It's not supposed to be rollover time. Right? I mean, let's go. Let's see how good you are.
I concur.
Okay.
It's not supposed to be easy.
And can I ask you one more question? I should know this. Double elimination or single?
Double.
Oh, okay, it's double. Okay, so
it's double. I mean,
you have room for an error, but you would rather not.
Well, yeah, but you can't lose your first game. No. Actually, you really can't. You really need to win your first 2 games to have a good. Now, Barton, on the other hand, has a pretty deep pitching staff, but you know you're going to get it. That's why I like the MIAA content. I want to see how this is going to work out because it's one and done. Everybody's got, but that really would make the first game because everybody's got an ace. Maybe everybody's got maybe a good pitcher number 2, but then you get depth. That's how you decide the tournaments. So which one do you like? Single elimination or double elimination?
I like the testing the depth of your pitching staff. What kind of? I would rather have the double elimination. Didn't do well for Fort Hays yesterday, though, did it?
No, they didn't end the season on a good run, did they?
4 straight losses?
Yeah. 5 of 6 to end the season. So yeah, it turned out bad for them. But that one game and you're done. But that's not going to be the case. Barton will play, I believe, at 4:00.
Tom Moore told me yesterday 4:00. Yes,
against Coffeyville. That's going to be Tuesday at Dean Evans Stadium. Coffeyville trotted past Butler. They won 8-3 yesterday, won 9-1 in the first one, so they advance. Hutchinson will be there. They beat Allen County 9-1 and 7-3, wrapping it up yesterday. Cowley, they pounded Seward twice, 11-1 on both days, including yesterday. KCK beats Dodge City, who I think was a dangerous team going in, 12-11 yesterday, and on Tuesday. Or on Wednesday, I should say, and then KCK taking care of business yesterday 8-4. So they're in. Johnson County beats Garden City 8-7, then 15-3 yesterday. 2 series are still going on. And Jack West teams may be rare at the tournament because Cloud County, they had trouble last year in this. They ended up winning 2-1 in their series last year. They got beat by Labette in Concordia yesterday 6-5, so they'll play a game 3 today. And Colby beat Fort Scott 14-3 on Wednesday, then 8-4. Fort Scott comes back and beats Colby yesterday. So Jayhawk East had the chance to advance 2 more.
The rubber match today of those
games. The best of 3 series. Yes. So that gets underway. Graben Panther baseball and softball, both in McPherson today, and both have some business to take care of. Now, the Lady Panthers, they've already wrapped up the WAC, finished 12-0. They will play today against Newton. And at the McPherson Quad, that'll be the first game. Then they'll face Newton 2 more times next Tuesday. They'll close out the regular season. And I want them to win for sure, obviously, because they are now tied in the 5A West standings for second place right now at 18-4. But they want another crack at McPherson. McPherson beat them the first meeting this year 11-5. And in that game, Max scored 5 runs in the first, 5 games in the second. Great Bend kind of threw the ball around, so that'll be an interesting matchup today. And then the Panther baseball team also in pretty good shape to host a regional, but they still have 6 games left. So they start off against a pretty good Junction City team today, and then they'll play either McPherson or Newton in their second game today. Next Wednesday, Great Bend at home for 2 games against a pretty good Manhattan team, and then they'll close out the season against Garden City on the road next Friday. So 6 games, so they've got some business to take care of before they can host.
And the one on Friday, next Friday is a makeup game, correct?
Right, they were supposed to play
and Randy Gehring
this week.
And Randy Gehring has the call today on B104.3, The Point from McPherson.
Right.
And then I'll have the games against Manhattan here. So
you'll have the baseball next Wednesday, yes.
Okay. You should have Great Bend baseball the rest of the way, it sounds like. If we got 2 today and 2 on Wednesday, well, we won't have Friday in Garden City. So, okay, I'll take that back.
The there's still a chance for the Panthers to share the Western Athletic Conference championship with Hayes, but Hayes has one more game left.
And who are they playing?
Well, I'm looking here real quick. Okay, Hayes. Anyway, Hayes has one more game left because they are 10-1. Great Bend has taken care of business. Well, they're 8-2. They still have 2 conference games left. Hayes still has another game floating out there, I believe.
Probably that's third game of the series, obviously.
Somewhere. Yeah, Hayes is in their own tournament this weekend. So that's what we're looking at. It's postseason time here.
Fun time. And I watch baseball all day long. So
okay, so last week we had a conversation, and you were telling me, yeah, Vinny, I don't know if he's ever going to turn it around and everything. And then I hear on Trading Post today, it's schedule driven.
It is schedule driven.
Well,
come on. When you play the Rockies for 3 and the White Sox for 4, so 7 of the 15 wins out of the last 7 have been teams that aren't very good.
And you get a pass on this because you're an actual very strong Royals fan. But, man, that pitching, I cannot believe it. Bubic, okay? One of the last ones left standing. And Lynch has been pitched pretty well, too, out of the bullpen this year. Bubic was strong yesterday, Bobby Witt Jr. Yeah, it wasn't – they got their 10-0 win yesterday. They scored more runs in the one game yesterday than they did in the previous 3. And they were close games against the White Sox.
Yes, they were. I think the White Sox are improved.
High-demand field at a CNH dealership in only 9 months. Learn more at toptech.bartonccc.edu.
It's all here at Great Bend Rec.
Sports, leisure, fitness and wellness, even senior and adaptive needs. It's all here at Great Bend Rec. Pick up a program guide or stop by the rec office at 1214 Stone in Great Bend. Or check out the website, greatbendrec.com. Live, play, explore at the rec.
It's all here at Great Bend Rec. Live, play, explore at the rec.
Sports Day presents Mike Corson, an inside look at all the sports taking place.
Hey, man, I do what I can. Mike Corson joining us here on Sports Day. Our show brought to you today by Equity Bank. Here when you need us. Bank local, save big with in-person banking and business banking. Visit equitybank.com. C&E Doors, your full-service garage door company. Follow the orange signs south of 10th and Harrison. And the American Plains Co-op Bulk Fuel Department, where they feature number 2 clear diesel, bulk fuel, E10, fuel delivery, all your lubricants and fuel supplies. Appreciate all the support for Sports Day. This is a perfect situation because anytime that Hesh and me start talking about something, we need another segment after that to clear up details that maybe were wrong in the first segment when we talked to him, or additional information that I couldn't find when I was being stressed. So, Hayes High baseball does have one more game, and it might be tricky. They play at Liberal next Thursday. Okay, that's Hayes' last conference game. They're 10-1. Great Bend's 8-2. So Great Bend needs to run the table. And Liberal, who was ahead by 4 or 5 runs when they played in the first game of a doubleheader at Hayes, who knows what can happen? It's on the road at Liberal. I wonder if it rains that day, whether, if it's like a little sprinkle. Hey, no, we don't want to take our kids all the way down there. We're just going to have to cancel that game. Budget, yeah. Hayes already has a piece of the crown, but they want to win it outright. And we do have another softball broadcast for you next week. Now, Hesh will have Wednesday's doubleheader at the Sports Complex, Great Bend Panther baseball and Manhattan, and then Thursday, Randy Gehring will have the final doubleheader of the season for the Lady Panthers as they take on Newton. Okay, KVGB Track and Field Insider Mike Corson joining us here. And Mike is one of those guys. He's a handshake guy.
No, I'm not.
But you got a handshake from a guy you wanted to shake his hand.
I'm still... he stuck it out. It's polite. So I went down to the MIAAs at Emporia State just to kind of...
you can't say this, but you can say it. It's like the state track meet on steroids. No accusations there. They just get better and bigger, stronger in college. So it's kind of see the progress. It's a whole bunch of Kansas kids. It's mostly 4 Kansas colleges in there, but you also got some Missouri, some Iowa. And it's just a whole bunch of Kansas kids that you saw at state 2, 3, 4 years ago. And so one of the ones that I wanted to kind of feature was Nickerson's Hunter Jones. Obviously, all that his family went through. National champion, though, in the decathlon last year in Division II. 4th highest scorer of all time. So I need to book my tickets into these things. Well, maybe if I feature some Wichita area kids, I have to put up my angles. So I got to talk to him, and he sticks out his hand. Okay, the first one's not so bad. Ask him a few questions, and then he does it again. I'm like, all right, Hunter, you're about 6'6", 250. Take it easy. But real fun to see that. The girl I wanted to see was Belle Peters of Smoky Valley. Got to see her at various league meets, competing against the Hoisington girls. So just to put it in perspective, because that one's an easy one, she was number 2 all-time in Kansas at 13.3 in high school. I'm pretty sure she's hit 14 feet in college, and she went second place at 13.8.5. So that's, 3 years of collegiate training, and she's added 6, 7, 8, 9 inches there. So it's just fun to see that they don't quit after high school. They're still progressing.
How'd Fort Hays do?
No, I left. So there's Big 12 championships coming up in Lawrence. They're going, I think, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. MIAA's went Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so I caught mostly prelim stuff.
Okay.
Didn't bother to check back in the finals.
See, it's one of it's one of those guys that I trained. Jason McCullough.
I almost went down.
When I was sports information director, he was my assistant. In fact, he made the logo for the Iuka Hustler baseball team, which it all comes back to that.
When I would clean your office, his half was always a little bit cleaner. So I thought I saw him. I was like, I should go get a selfie for Steve. But he was down at the bottom and I was at the top. So he's fast.
Okay, other things going on. Tell me, Dylan Sprecher from southeast of Saline.
Just another fun one. I'm walking upstairs up in Emporia, and somebody says, "Well, you lost?" Well, it's Dylan Sprecher's mama. So
Look at you. You're just like, everybody knows you.
We had, from southeast of Saline, used to run over in Ellenwood when that was just a really loaded meet with Sterling in southeast of Saline. And so he came down and ran the 800, but he didn't have a time. And there was 3 heats, so they put him in the slow first heat. And I said, is he going to win it? Well, maybe. Well, of course he won it. So I should have checked back in to see how he did against the big dogs in the finals. But yeah, so just referencing that Ellenwood meet back there today, Ellenwood Invitational. Southeast of Saline no longer there, but Sterling's still coming there. And you're going to see a matchup of 2 of the best sprinters in Class 2A, if not of all Kansas, with Sterling's Julia Kilgore and Ellenwood freshman Reagan Wirtz. So they're currently ranked number 1 and 2 in the Class 2A 200.
Kilgore's a senior, though, isn't she?
I think only a junior.
Okay.
But the big one, got to get there early. I think the field events start at 4. Reagan Wirtz, freshman, she's going about 18:10 in the long jump, so I was just looking.
Wow.
She's got about an 18-inch lead in Class 2A, but there are some girls that are going over 19 feet in the bigger classes.
That's incredible. That is just flat out incredible. They're going that long right now.
But yeah, talking to some other people, we've got Eleanor Joyner, a bunch of the girls that play basketball, volleyball. Kind of looking at maybe some of those relay records, especially the 4x4, if not following this year, maybe following next year, because we've already seen the success the basketball and volleyball teams have had, and this is an athletic young bunch.
Okay, pole vault, boys.
Yeah, the boys side, they've had pole vault over there, but Kason Merritt's already broke the school record, and so he'll be showcased today, I'm guessing. So he's currently ranked number 3 in Class 2A, and he's gone 13-1. A little bit competitive in 2A. The next kid's at 13-2, and then there's a kid at 13-9 in there. So, but we've seen it. Taylor Morales beat the kid that was ranked number 1 last week in Beloit in Class 3A. And then Camden Voldemort from Scott City comes out there and beats them both. So 3AA is going to be a heck of a race, and 2A could conceivably, I don't know how many times the other kid's gone 13-9, but I'm guessing it's once.
So that meet gets underway this afternoon then?
Yeah, senior night over there, so they'll have some field events and then a break and run-ins with the evening.
All right, Mike, you hate to put you on the clock, but what else you got here?
Yeah, so Great Bend was up at Topeka Seaman last week, 31 teams. Salina Central was there, Topeka Seaman obviously there, so had the potential for that big matchup. It did not happen. But just anytime you get these all-time numbers, you got to mention them. So Seaman Jr. Ryan Miller she did not run in the 32, so she saved her energy a little bit. Posted the second fastest times in 2 races, the 800 and the 1600.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's Class 5A. Obviously, Caitlin Roop and Kaylee Schultz are in there. You got all the St. James Academy kids. 5A is just absolutely stacked from the 400 on.
Okay, all-class triple jump.
This one's been fun to watch. You won't see it happen at state because you got 2A, 5A, 6A. The Sedgwick kid has come along, so that's Class 2A. He took the all-class lead from Cooper. Cooper took it back by an inch, I think, the very next day. Sedgwick's Noah Little takes it back again, but then here comes this kid, Simba Mundava from Olathe West, goes 47.675. So that was the state lead, and then here comes Little just a couple of days later, so he's up to 47.825.
Good Lord.
So, yeah, those 3 seem to be the standouts. We talked about coming up. 5A was going to be the toughest with the kid from Andover Central, and then that kid from Emporia popped up, but haven't heard much from them lately. So it's the Cooper Omont show, we hope. But what I've been more impressed with is javelin. Comes out, probably second or third meet he's thrown it, goes 177, I think. And so he's number 9 in Class 5A. And you've got a little bit of a margin there. There's 2 kids over 200 feet this year. Class 5A is not one of them, so I think 196 and change is your top throw. So 170 is right there in the ballpark of getting some state points or state medal.
Okay, and Big 12 champions in Lawrence Saturday, Diamond League on Flow Track instead of Peacock.
Yeah, so I checked out some tickets for Big 12 championships. Go watch some marquee Division I track. $15 admission. That's how, and it said plenty of seating still available. Track and field in America. Yeah, then so speaking of Diamond League's been on Peacock, which if you use $7 subscription a month. Nope, didn't renew the contract. Went to Flow Track, $30 a month to watch your professional track league. Growing the sport in the United States.
The one and only Mike Corson with us on Sports Day.
Pulling acres ahead of the competition is simple. Cenex Maxtron synthetic diesel engine oils give you the smartest oil for the toughest conditions. These premium oils are formulated with EnduroVis technology and a balanced additive package to control deposits for a cleaner, more efficient engine that gives you proven durability. Cenex Maxtron diesel engine oils. Oil that runs smart.
Contact American Plains Co-op Fuel Department in Great Bend, your certified Cenex distributor.
This is happening.
Hadley, what's going on? I've been trying to call you for the past half hour.
Well, Papa, ever since you started this big sale, the phones have been like crazy.
That's a good thing, Hadley. And didn't I ask you to name the sale?
I did. It's a sale. It's so good you won't believe it.
Oh, Hadley, it is so good you won't believe it.
C&E Doors is offering steel on both sides 9x7 white doors for the same price as vinyl backliner doors. Call today.
All right, it's going to wrap up the show for this week. Big afternoon today. In fact, I've got to bust out of here. I'm going to be late, too. So, kindergarten graduation at Holy Family Elementary today. I think Parker graduated. I think he did. So, well, I'll find out. It's kind of going to be cool. Be down there in a few minutes. Thanks for joining us for another week of Sports Day back here on Monday on KVGB.